they've got blood on their hands. Somebody has died because of their stupid decisions and their incapability of running the country. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but this is going to get worse and worse and worse. I think civil war on the streets.
The MSM, even in death, are trying to smear Peter Lynch, the 61-year-old grandfather and family man who died in jail after taking his own life as a political prisoner of Two Tier Keir Starmer's dystopic Labour regime. Peter was locked up for 2 years and 8 months for attending an anti-immigration protest in the wake of the Southport massacre that turned into what authorities describe as a riot. The police body cam footage from that day actually shows Peter praying, calling officers scum after they push him to the ground, and yelling, "You are protecting people who are killing our kids and raping them." He'd also taken his iconic sign, accusing the elites of corruption. He was not violent. He did not incite any violence. Indeed, the judge in his case, the Recorder of Sheffield, Jeremy Richardson KC, made clear his sign and protest was not unlawful, but apparently it was his verbal abuse of the officers that crossed a line. Now look, emotions were running high that day, sure, but I struggle to see how in anyone's world expressing your free speech in that manner, as spiky as it may have been, sees you locked up for years, while paedophiles, violent criminals and women beaters receive no jail time whatsoever. The MSM, in their typical fashion, have tried to deride Peter Lynch as a rioter and a conspiracy theorist, when in fact I believe he was one of us, an ordinary Englishman concerned about the impact of mass immigration. Peter had been married for 36 years, had 4 children and 3 grandchildren. He worked in the packing industry, but had been made redundant in the month beforehand. He suffered from angina, diabetes, thyroid issues, and had recently suffered a heart attack. No doubt he was deeply concerned about his future. But Peter Lynch also had a history of standing up for the people against the establishment, as this previously unseen interview from during the Brexit battles makes clear.
Why are you here today?
Because we did a vote in 2016, the democratic vote, it's not being upheld. Parliament's took it onto themselves. The corrupt MPs have took it onto themselves to deny our vote what we put them in power for. But now they're in power, they're stuck there defying what we've put them in here for. And all these corrupt MPs now are saying they're getting picked on and abused, but why not? They actually went in there to do a job and they've gone and turned against will of people, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, how do we go by our rights and bring our children up if the corrupt system all the way through, police, judicial services, everything, it's all involved. Parliament, MPs, everything, they're all corrupt. We get Prime Minister's corrupt. So how can we tell our children to bring them up straight and narrow when everybody above them was corrupt, but yet they're expecting the people to do as they're told by people that's not doing as they're told what we're put in here for. So I just can't see around it unless they come out to Brexit.
That man was one of us. He shouldn't have taken his own life in prison after being taken away from his 3 grandchildren for 2 years and 8 months. That was a barbaric sentence. A barbaric sentence designed to shut you up. And as a result, I believe the authorities responsible now have blood on their hands. Sly News had made it abundantly clear what sort of hell prisoners like Peter were about to face.
That if they do appear, whether they're pleading guilty or not guilty, they're very unlikely to get bail. And if they do end up in prison, somebody who knows about these things told me that, any right-wing, far-right protester landing up in jail, they can expect a pretty cold reception from what he says are Asian gangs inside prison who will be looking out for them.
Isabella Oakeshott summed up the Peter Lynch case perfectly yesterday.
Peter Lynch was jailed for nearly 3 years at a time when this government is releasing literally thousands of hardened criminals with long criminal records, people whose behaviour has had actual immediate victims. How does that make sense? Make no mistake, folks, Peter Lynch was a political prisoner, and his death by his own hands is on this government.
Amen. After ignoring Peter's story for much of yesterday, Sky News' Kay Burley asked the Labour Justice Secretary Sabana Mahmood this morning about his sentencing. She hid behind weasel words.
You talk about locking up the most serious criminals. That includes a 61-year-old man, Peter Lynch, with angina, who's previously suffered a heart attack and diabetes. He died in prison this week. He didn't have any previous convictions. He behaved appallingly during the summer riots, but he had no previous convictions. He was a poorly man. He's now died in prison. Is he the sort of person that is a serious enough criminal to be in jail?
Well, look, I don't take any death in custody lightly, and that will now be investigated, as every death in custody is, by the Prisons and Probation Ombudsman. Well, I think that actually I have to wait until that investigation is completed before I comment on the specifics of this case.
I'm asking you whether or not he was a serious enough criminal to find himself in jail.
Well, those are independent decisions to charge made by the Crown Prosecution Service.
But you talk about locking up the most serious criminals. It's your phraseology.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I won't comment on the specifics of that case because sentencing decisions are a matter for the independent judiciary. What we are announcing is a sentencing review in order to make sure that we can deal not just with the capacity crisis that we have in our prisons, and to make sure that no emergency releases take place ever again, but also that we do better on rehabilitation, which is a huge problem in this country. 90% of people who are sentenced to a prison sentence are in fact reoffenders. It shows you the scale of the issues that we have and some of the things that we have to tackle if we're going to turn things around.
Yes, exactly. So why the hell was Peter Lynch in prison? That's the point. Burley should have pressed the hapless minister on how she can possibly justify sending home over 1,000 violent criminals today, mostly violent anyway, to make way for someone like Peter Lynch. But of course, the MSM and Establishment reaction to Peter's death is one of, oh, he deserves it. And let's just be honest about that. And I'm thinking today what a stark contrast it is to the ludicrous coverage of the Chris Kaba case in London, where the Metropolitan Police Officer Martin Blake, by all accounts a very good officer, faced a murder trial for doing his job and shooting dead a violent criminal who was linked to various shootings and failed to comply with officers at a checkpoint. But bad actors like Sadiq Khan tried to spark some sort of British George Floyd case with platitudes like this. He wrote on X, "My thoughts are with Chris Kaba's loved one today. His death has had a huge impact on Londoners, and in particular black Londoners. Anger, pain and fear has been felt across communities, along with a desire for change and justice." Now, Kaba was a hardened gangland thug who had fired a gun at a nightclub, at a rival, on the dance floor, and then going down the street just days before his death. And once again, and this is becoming quite a habit, it's only Reform UK brave enough to tackle this issue. Deputy Leader Richard Tice wrote on this, well, CPS have serious questions to answer. Frankly, they are rapidly losing confidence of public. Too often they seem to be on side of violent thugs, not police officers. And Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, added, the truth about Chris Kaba is out. We need to support our police more. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, and thank God for Elon Musk, given he is on a single-handed mission to save free speech across the world, putting himself in the crosshairs of the establishment, which is quite literally advocating for his removal from polite society. He won't even visit the UK now because he is so scared of being locked up by Starmer. I'm not joking.
There's some weird things going on in Europe. There's a lot of, I mean, although we've got quite a lot of bureaucracy here, but in Europe they've got country-level bureaucracy, and then they've got EU bureaucracy on top of that. I mean, the EU headquarters in Brussels is a monument to bureaucracy. It's really next level. And they unlike America, they don't have a First Amendment. You don't actually have freedom of speech in Europe. But we're kind of like a pretty rare situation having freedom of speech. So, like there's crazy stuff happening in the UK where people are getting like 2-3 year prison sentences for Facebook posts. Yeah, I don't think I should go to, visit Britain, because they're gonna drag out some, tweet and say 2 years in prison for this tweet or something bullshit like that, So anyway, I think that's, with Trump elected, we can put a stop to that stuff and say no way, no, nope. No throwing people in prison for random social media posts. That's crazy. Yeah, it's happened a lot. No, I mean, it's so crazy in Britain that they actually have released convicted pedophiles in order to imprison people for making social media posts. That is a real thing that happened. Insane. Yeah.
It is a real thing happening, and we are living through it. So there you have humanity's greatest businessman and entrepreneur not stepping foot in the UK in genuine fear of ending up in prison for his words. And that's just accepted. We need our own version of the First Amendment now, or this once great country is finished. As the Reform UK chairman Zia Youssef put it, the world's most successful and influential entrepreneur won't visit the UK for fear of being imprisoned for his political views. Starmer's UK is on a glide path to being the Soviet Union. Reform is the only hope for those who believe in British values. And I actually do agree with him. There are so many problems. I mean, our guest today, Charlie Mullins, one of our most successful businessmen, he has left the country too. So what do we need to do? I think we need to pressure every politician who claims to believe in free speech now. Why do you stay silent as our rights are chipped away by the day? Do you know where this ends? Some people will say Peter Lynch was unwise to attend the protest. I'm pretty sure he regretted it with every bone in his body. I'm absolutely convinced his family are devastated by that decision. But did that grandfather deserve to die in prison to send a message to all of us to toe the line? No, of course not. Only a dictator would encourage that type of law and order. But now it's time for Charlie Mullins in the Uncancelled interview. Charlie Mullins, do you look at all of this ridiculous stuff going on in the UK and just think, thank God I got out?
Undoubtedly. First of all, I want to offer my condolences to Liam Gallagher and his family and friends. I mean, what a thing that has happened is, it's just, you can't even, it's just disgusting. And we have to be honest, this is Starmer's fault. He's the ones that's called on these prison sentences, and all the guy was doing was saying what he thinks. I mean, it's just unbelievable to think we're having this conversation about it. And, hopefully this never happens again, but I can't see it. Unfortunately, Starmer and the Labour government do not have a clue on how to treat people and who's wrong and who's right. It's just an unbelievable thing that's happened. I mean, this guy, all he needed to do was maybe even moved on, not going to prison, not and this has happened. And it's just, well, you've said all the words you said. It's not right. It's unfair. And, I don't want to get racist into this, but if this guy would come from another country, there'd be protests and everything all over the UK. It's so wrong. And Starmer needs to be ashamed of himself. And he needs to step down, if I'm being honest. He needs to step down. I said a 2-bob thing on Twitter or X at the time, just a nothing thing, a throwaway comment, and they barred me from it and made a big thing about it. And this guy here is just being outspoken. He's done nothing wrong. He's just saying what millions of us know and think, yes, the Labour government is corrupt. Of course it is. I mean,
exactly.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know,
look how much evidence there's been of that in literally a matter of weeks.
Do I what? Sorry.
Well, look how much evidence there's been of their corruption in a matter of weeks. Lord Ali, for example. But first, every day subtle changes occur in our bodies, often going unnoticed. It's called inflammagene, a chronic low-grade inflammation that deteriorates our health as we get older. It's more than just a sign of aging, it's a key contributor to health issues like cardiovascular diseases, dementia and depression, and physical decline. It continuously weakens the body's resilience, turning minor infections severe and impacting mental health and cognitive function. Inflammagene significantly diminishes both quality of life and independence. Proper diet, exercise, and sleep can only get you so far. But the good news is, I've got a solution. It's why I take Clean Bean by Verso. Now, Clean Bean is amazing. It contains ingredients targeted to fight off and help prevent inflammagene. Research shows that these ingredients clean out damaged cells in the body that affect healthy cells, reduce inflammation, protect against oxidative stress, and improve conditions like cardiovascular diseases and neurological disorders. After taking Clean Bean for many months, I've noticed less joint pain, increased energy, better mood, clearer skin. I can think better, I don't get sick as often. These are all benefits of reducing inflammation. Plus, Verso ensures transparency and quality by publishing third-party testing results for each batch they produce, so you know you're getting what you paid for. Click the link in the description in YouTube or Rumble, or head on over to buy.ver.so. Use the coupon code OUTSPOKEN when you check out. You will save 15% on your first order. So I'm just going to repeat the address: www.buy.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code OUTSPOKEN. But now, back to the show.
Exactly. I mean, God knows what it's going to be like in 12 months' time with this lot in power. I've never known anything like it. And I say, I'll be as outspoken as I want, and they can do what they want and say what they want about me. But at the end of the day, they're wrong. They've got blood on their hands. Somebody has died because of their stupid decisions and their incapability of running the country.
And I obviously want to come much more in terms of your personal decision to leave shortly. But first, can I just ask you, Charlie, about Elon Musk? Because you're one of our most successful businessmen. He's one of the most successful businessmen in the world. And he says he will not even step foot in the UK because he's so concerned that Starmer would end up arresting him. That's shocking, isn't it? Even if that wouldn't happen, the fact he even feels that is so shocking and so bad for the UK, because surely we need business from Elon Musk badly.
I mean, it's again, you know, Starmer and Labour government driving away entrepreneurs, business people, wealth creators, job creators, people that train people. They despise anybody that does well and anybody that's wealthy. And for him to make that decision, Elon Musk, not to come here, it's a massive blow for the UK. He wasn't invited to this business summit that they held in London. And he actually said, you know, I wouldn't go there anyhow because of all the paedophiles they've let out on the streets, and the government are being childish. It's like school playground stuff. I mean, they obviously don't understand business at all. And you would welcome that man here. And if he was here and invested and got things moving for us, but that's the message they're sending out, the government, that they do not like wealthy people or job creators or entrepreneurs, business people. All they're interested in is giving people money that don't work and can work. Interested in giving people money that should not be in the country. We all think it. Unfortunately, you know, we're being restricted what to say. But we all know the truth. We all know why we're in a mess, because he's wasting the money. He's giving it to people that don't contribute anything to the UK. And it's clear cut as that. And, you know, I told the guy to his face, and it doesn't bother me at all. But he needs to start listening, because unfortunately, I hate to say it, but this is going to get worse and worse and worse.
I think
civil war on the streets.
Really? Because Elon Musk has predicted that.
Well, I didn't know that, but I predicted it as soon as Labour got in. We become a lawless society, and you know, it's the dog wagging the tail wagging the dog now, and I'm not sure that how much we can do other than make it very clear. And what this chap Liam Galvin has done, I mean, he should be given a medal for standing up. He's lost his life through stupid government's decisions to put someone in jail that's done nothing wrong.
I know, it's absolutely appalling. Absolutely appalling. And then, Charlie, I mean, you were in London, so you knew how lawless London was, right? And you have Chris Kaba, who is literally one of the biggest gangland thugs in London, right? So he is shooting people up in a nightclub in Hackney. Very lucky that there weren't deaths. Shooting people on the street, or at least attempting to shoot people on the street. He is then shot dead by a police officer during a checkpoint when he refused to stop. He was asked multiple times to stop. In fact, if you look at the footage, he was actually just charging through this police line. And Sadiq Khan tries to make it an issue of racism. And the police officer ends up on trial for murder.
Yeah, well, again, you've said everything. The judge, jury found the police officer not guilty, and I believe that should be the case. Sadiq Khan is a racist. He's a troublemaker. He's a waste of time. He's very much against all people that live in London and work in London. Again, he's another man that just despises people that want to sort of do well in London and create business. I mean, I've had run-ins with him and evidently been told off about it. Really could not care less about the man. He should not be mayor of London, and he's a troublemaker and causing problem after problem. He's not mentioned nothing about, the Liam Gallagher that's died in prison, but he mentioned something about somebody in London that he feels he's a troublemaker, the guy. I mean, he needs to be got out of office immediately. And, you know, I've got a good word to say against the guy. Since he's been mayor of London, he has ruined so many businesses in London and killed the economy with his stupidity of what should be and what shouldn't be. He's absolutely clueless. I mean, he's the biggest troublemaker in England.
Yeah, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.